What's up, YouTube? So I got a messy garage here, but I'm getting ready for a big restock. I got a new prototype done. I have some more slipper training updates, and I'm getting ready for sponsoring a competition in Newburyport. So I'm gonna switch you around and show you what's going on. So for the latest, I've got, and this is shining a lot, so a lot of glare. That's much better. Okay, so I have the new pinch trainer. So I explained this, but with just with a CAD model. So we have, if you clip into this eyelet here at the top, you have one edge to a mono here, and then two more smaller edges on the other side. So I know that these are an 8 and a 6. It's escaping me off the top of my head. One of these is an 18. I think it's this one, and this one's slightly less. I think it's a 15. But I would have to double check that before I confirm, and this is something like a 25. Here, generous radii on this side, and then just enough radius on these ones on the other side. So the way that this works is a bit unique. I haven't seen it done before, but so you put your thumb in here, and then you have two options: holding here, which is limited by the eyelet, and then you can also put your fingers in here. So you have two different edge depths, and I think those are the most common. But the way that this works is you have these holes in here, which if you've seen my video for the sloper trainer, these work exactly the same, is that a carabiner goes in either one of these holes. And a cool feature of this that I have not seen anywhere else is that either one of these holes, neither of them are centered when you're pinching it. So you have either closer to your forefingers or closer to your thumb. And this is by design. So now I have a regular pinch for comparison. This is roughly the same width as using this outside. So I was able to test this, and mind you, this is not textured yet. So holding on to this is a bit challenging in and of itself because I haven't textured it yet. But so with this pinch right here, and I will say that I try to hold it similar, at a similar depth as I would hold this, is I was able to do 45 pounds, which I could probably do a good amount more than 45 pounds, but I had 45 pounds on my loading pin, and that was done easily. Now, with this, if obviously, so first of all, I can't do 45 pounds on this, and if I am holding between these two and a clip into here, I'm able to do 25 pounds. And again, I'm not micro loading it to figure out my exact PR, but it was 25 pounds. So if I do it by clipping into here, I was able to do 10 pounds. So, no way could I do 25 pounds clipped into here. Now, that's an important thing to mention because I'm doing 10 pounds like this, but when I do that 10 pounds, I'm also feeling it the most in my thumb. I feel it more in my thumb than any of the other ones, the other tests that I did. So it's the least amount of weight, but I'm working my thumb the most, which is amazing because one of my biggest complaints about having to do pinch training is that I do feel like I'm still just working the regular four fingers, and I wish I knew the name for this grouping of four fingers, but you get the point. Is I still feel like I'm working my four fingers the most, when really, when it comes down to pinching, the determining factor for me in most cases, and especially outdoors where you're doing a kind of weird pinch and you just have to activate the thumb a lot, is that when I'm pinch training, I never feel like I'm using my thumb to its fullest extent, and I'm still just relying mostly on the strength of these four fingers here, which kind of, what's the point? So this allows me to lift the minimum amount of weight and get the maximum amount of training from my thumb. And that's great because I usually train pinches when I'm doing something that's already forearm intensive, like a deadlift, where I'm already taxing my forearms a little bit. And I also, if I'm doing floor pulls, it doesn't make sense to pull off the floor in a deadlift and then also walk over to, some sort of finger training device and have to pull weight off the ground there as well. So this is basically, a negligible amount of weight and still getting to work your thumb. So deadlift day and pinch training day is how I like to do that workout split. And this really makes that training philosophy even better. So that's why I designed it. That's how this works. And I will point out that the eyelet position on this is such that when you're using these holds, and this is especially nice for the mono, is that this will tip, it'll be this way slightly. And so that kind of makes it so these are all more comfortable. They slope away a little bit, which makes these two perfect for open hand and also the 3-finger drag training. And so this device is the first one in the line that really has holds that are specifically for the drag position. So it's kind of a neat feature that you get your pinch training, a mono, your drag positions, and then obviously the eyelet on this side is closer to the face. So that will keep these holds feeling more, or not feeling, the edge will be perpendicular to the ground. So for these small edges, they'll still feel nice and as in-cut as they can. So you can do these 6mm and 8mm holds. And I was able to test that today and they work quite good. I might make these a little bit less wide, these slots. They didn't get in the way, but the carabiner's width doesn't need to be, the width of a carabiner is usually much less than that. So they don't need to be so wide, and I could get away with them being a little bit less wide. They might need to move out a little bit to accommodate larger carabiners. This carabiner will work, and I can demonstrate that now. So that's pretty easy. That's how that works. It's the carabiner just snakes in between these two slots, and it works for both of them, obviously. And I tested that on this. I think these are probably for climbers the most common shape of a carabiner we'll see on our they're on Dog Bones, and this is what most places sell. I feel like they all look the same. And also these carabiners work, but the typical carabiners that you'll see for workout equipment also work in this. The ones that haven't worked for me yet are the locking carabiners, which I have seen some people use. So it's not a huge detriment that these are this width. So I might have to keep them this way to keep it a smaller package. So right now I have this down to 14 ounces. So anytime I go up in thickness here or in width, since these are aluminum, the detriment of that is that it easily becomes kind of heavy quite quick as opposed to wood. So this is under a pound. It's 14 ounces, so that's 2 ounces under a pound. So it feels beefy, it feels nice in the hand, but it's not too heavy. And so that's it for this. I've got, so that's 7 tubes that I had a video earlier that the surface finish of the tube as extruded wasn't great. So what I did is I took these down in a lathe, turned the outside, turned both faces, and chamfered it. So without a CNC lathe, I just used a manual lathe. That's labor intensive, but that does allow me to do, a test where, I'm probably gonna give one away and then, sell the rest, and I'll see how fast they sell. If they sell really quick, that will at least give me some idea that these might be popular, and maybe I need to bring a CNC lathe in here so I can do these more effectively. But if they don't, then no CNC lathe, I won't worry about it, and you'll never see them again. But for those who didn't see it, I cut these similar slots into this, and I'll put a little logo on here. I need to come up with a new logo for these actually, because there's not much space to put a logo on these. I know obviously the surface area is huge, but I only like to mill a small flat here and put a logo here. So probably just do like 3 letters, but I need something because right now it's the full name. Right now it's that. I don't have nearly enough space for that unless I get a laser engraver and I can engrave on an uneven surface. So then the next thing, the important thing, is that I've got 50 pieces of stock for Baby Boss boards. So that's these right here. So you'll see those coming in soon. And then the last thing, which I'm gonna move over to the computer and show you there. All right, so I'm back on the computer, and every time I apologize, that's just the camera facing the computer and I'm not screen recording, but let's do this. So this is just the setup on the machine. I made some soft jaws for this part because it's actually, this is an uneven surface and they don't lie in the same plane, so I had to make soft jaws. But what I want to show you is, and I apologize, you can see some of the messy garage as I'm getting ready for a new compressor and some other stuff in here. Okay, so this is what I am right now calling the Battle Royale. This is another portable hangboard, and I'm hoping this will be the last portable hangboard I do until I want to get a regular hangboard design done. But so this is the Battle Royale. This is going to have, it'll be four main holds, so it'll be 8, no, I'm sorry, it'll be 4 holds. So it's, you know, as of right now, you can see 2 and, or I'm sorry, 1 this side, 1 this side, but what I have to do in the finished design is, as you can see, there are 2 eyelets, so you can 180 this, and you'll have a different edge here and here. So you'll see a pocket, so to let your fingers sit a little bit deeper on one side versus the other. So that'll give you 2 per side, there and there. But then you also get bonus is a 2-finger pocket and a mono here. So that's another 2, so that's 6 total. So it's a Battle Royale. If I remember right, it's an 18 or a 19 millimeter pocket on one side, and then you'll have the smaller depth pockets you can see here. I think this right now is 8, so probably like an 8 and a 6. And I might be able to, if I creatively make those pockets, bring this down like another 2 millimeters or so, and that will bring this weight down as well, which is nice, because I think right now, as it stands, if I look at the properties, I am at 15 ounces. So this is just an ounce heavier than that pinch I just showed you. So not bad, but whenever you take the thickness down by just a little bit, it does have a profound effect on the weight. So it could be even less, but that's less than a pound, with 16 ounces being a pound. So carrying a pound around is not that bad. So that's that. And so while I'm here, I remembered I spoke to people on Instagram about doing a video on 3D printed holds, and you know, that will be something I'm going to have to get that screen recording software to do. But here's an example of a 3D printed hold that I did during COVID. But I see a lot of people 3D printing holds. I think some of them do it with success, some of them don't. But I see a lot of people kind of writing it off because they'll print something, they'll make a design that looks nice, then they'll use it and then rip it off. And so if I remember right, materials wise, PLA, which is this is out of, everyone thinks you need to use PETG, but that's not true. If you look up the material data sheet on, or a technical data sheet, I'm sorry, a technical data sheet for PLA, if you can find one. A lot of PLAs don't have it. For most stuff on Amazon, you won't see a technical data sheet, but you can find technical data sheets on polyurethane that rock climbing holds are made out of. It's really similar to PLA. PLA, if you're using it outdoors, you have an outdoor wall. These were outdoors actually for 2 years, but under a tarp usually and on a 45-degree wall, so not in direct sunlight. If these were in direct sunlight, that would be a problem for sure, but this is definitely a viable option for holds if you're into it. I want to release some designs. I've lost all of my previous ones, but I did have quite a lot of designs, some better than others, but all of them strong. And there's some tricks to making these strong, both in the design and then also in the slicer settings that, you know, some people use in other areas, but it's kind of just like some simple tricks like location of the screws or bolts that you're using, and just how you're printing it, orientation and stuff, which I think people get the basics down. But again, I've had this hold for 3 years and I'm usually a little bit under 200 pounds, but I usually hover between 180 and 200 pounds of body weight, and I can 100% swing off of these. You can see there's some toe rubber in here. I can toe on these really good, really press into them, and not a single 3D printed hold has broken for me, and I don't think that a well-designed 3D printed hold ever will on me. And again, there's some things that could be better. You know, if you could get some metal inserts for in here, that would improve at least the reusability. So on a spray wall, these are perfect if you don't move them a lot, but not having like a metal insert in here like you'll see some people put in wood holds would also be an improvement. And you can buy those, but you know, it's all something I could go over in its individual video. So that could be something to come in the future. But that's it. I think I'm gonna walk over real quick. I think I forgot to point out that I've got a new banner. So I've talked about it on my last video, but I will be at Newburyport, Metro Rock, for the competition there. So me and my wife will be at that competition, and you'll see not this setup, you know, I'll have some of the Baby Boss boards there and all the current products that I have made already there for people to test out. And I might have, or I should have, some Baby Boss boards there for people to win. And if, you know, maybe somebody wants to buy them. But that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in.